Welcome to Preserving Your Wealth with Mike McCormick, where we talk about smart ways to invest and preserve your money. Mike is a registered investment advisor with McCormick Financial Advisors in Bozeman, Montana. As an independent fiduciary, Mike does not receive commissions from any of the products or investments mentioned on this program. Consult a professional before making any investment decision. You can find old shows archived at McCormickFinancialadvisors.com. Learn, participate, interact.
And the aforementioned Mike McCormick is in the house. Well, he's not in the house. He's in his house or somewhere by phone. How you doing, Michael?
He's in a mysterious location.
That's right.
Just me and the other gazillionaires in our secret island hideaway.
That's right. Yeah, you're out there. Yeah, you're out there sitting on a pile of money, counting what you made this week, huh?
I did ask my family the other day. I said, "Hey, if we could, be transported anywhere on the planet into any situation, where's the best optimal place to be?" And it had to be the place we'd been to before. And everybody said Hawaii, but we want to be on our own farm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you got to be on your own mountain or something over there. So
yeah.
Well, we've lost all the gains since Trump took office. So, what are your folks saying on the phone to you, Mike?
This is obviously, I'll state some obvious things first. And the first one that I want to say is that I think everybody should be following the president's guidelines and taking this as seriously as anybody that they know. That's the key to this. And, hearing the stories that we've been hearing about some of the younger folks not heeding the warnings, and I've seen examples in our own community. Mostly I see great behavior among the old people, above the mature people. And I think that the thing that we need to recognize, parents, is that even if your kid's in their 20s, they still might need some parenting out there. So let's be on the same team. I think this is to me the fundamental lesson about this, is that America does have a chance to be great again. And I think it's almost guaranteed that capitalism and democracy will survive, and we will overcome this, as we have with every epidemic, with every war, with every unexpected catastrophe. But because of the severity of this, because the only way to beat it is certain behaviors, we have to do these behaviors. And in doing these behaviors, we are crippling our economy severely.
Well,
and that's the rub.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Shane does too. The big question I think the three of us ought to talk about is the length of time it's going to take to recover, and I'm guessing 18 months to 2 years myself.
I think there's obviously nobody knows.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, Shane, we don't know. Yeah.
If you remember last week, I was in the studio with you while we were asking the listeners what they thought about me going on spring break and seeing family. And I ended up driving to the airport hours later to cancel my ticket because things moved so fast in the bad direction. And I'm, of course, glad I did. That was the right decision to do, and it was easy to do with the airlines and the Airbnb, and everybody credited me a stay within the next year, a plane ticket in the same direction the next year. But I'm not going twice. So they lost all that money. The rental property owner lost that VRBO money. The airlines lost that money. And as we continue to make these decisions, the ramifications become longer and longer and longer lasting. And where we are right now as a financial advisor, when I talk to clients, I say, your retirement money was never intended to be used in the next 5 years. And that should be key for most people. If you're in retirement, you have a different form of cash flow portfolio set up. But for the most people out there, their stock market money is 5-year money, in which case there's nothing to be done. There's nothing to be done. No allocation changes greater than 20% under almost any circumstance is warranted. And furthermore, because of this incredible stress that we're having right now, the markets are not functioning as intended. Now, you could say they're functioning correctly, and I'm happy they're open. There's some some arguments saying, well, just close this stock market thing. It's madness. We did it in 2011, and we've done it in other occasions as well, and it hasn't been a problem. We need the markets to be functioning right now because this is such a drawn-out, long problem that we don't want to hide our head in the stands to what a real valuation is, and we don't want to change somebody's ability from expressing their fear or confidence by buying or selling in the market.
Yeah. Well, we got more than 48,000 people applied for benefits in Ohio this week. We got 70,000 people applied for unemployment aid in Pennsylvania in a single day. That's 6 times more than they normally have. And we're getting the jobless reports tomorrow. So let's see, in Rhode Island, jobless claims jumped from 0 to 18,000 in a week. So we are
going to 20% unemployment and then beyond,
yeah,
I think.
I would think so.
I do.
Well, as you know, they've extended the closings here from the 24th. They're going to keep them closed till April 2nd. So
absolutely. And there's 2 things I think that we need to recognize. One is, yes, unemployment is going to be rampant. Yes, small business owners should not feel the brunt of this because they were doing the best they could anyway. So I have a lot of clients that are in absolute anguish over laying their employees off.
Yeah,
they feel horrible. But this is going to be long enough where most small business owners haven't said, well, this was a great year. I better go get a $400,000 CD so I could cover payroll for 3 to 4 months just to have my employees doing nothing. That's not how business works.
Yeah, no, it isn't going to work that way. But
it is how unemployment works.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's true. Yeah, the Small Business Administration is going to offer loans at a little over 3%, 30-year loans, up to, I think it's $20 million, something like that. So there are some options there. To borrow at a fairly low interest rate, but still, that's again, how is it going to take you 30 years to recoup that loss? That's another thing business has to think about.
I think that when we get back to business, and I am an optimist, so I think we will. I think by the end of this year, people will be able to have a job. This will by no means be a distant memory. There'll be lasting implications of this in all aspects of our lives, maybe for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, because it's been you go back to the Spanish flu in 1918. Philadelphia didn't do anything about it, and St. Louis did, and the dramatic difference between the 2 cities was remarkable. By doing the very things we're doing now.
And that sets America up as a country to further accelerate our global position by good behavior and fast response if we can pull it off. If we can pull it off. And we're seeing, Shane mentioned, of course, Shane's always got a keen eye on the currency markets. There's a lot of dislocations right now. And this is a point that I want to make to people is when as advisors are saying, no, we're not selling right now. It's because we're in a state of the market not being liquid. Now, liquidity means a lot of things to different people. Most of the time, I can tell people, beyond your retirement account, you've got a strong balance sheet, you've got extra money, you don't want to own real estate, you don't want to invest in private companies, you just want to make some passive dividend income for the long term, and you can take the risk. The market works great because it has liquidity. Every day I can tell you what your portfolio is worth, and I can get it to you the next day. When we have stresses on the market like this now, this is the exception to the rule. There is no basis for valuation because there's so much uncertainty, and we see that in the free fall moves and whipsaw swings that the market's making because there's no way to project what the value of a share of a company is worth. There's no way to project what somebody will pay in the future for a barrel of oil, a lump of gold, a share of, we do know a share of toilet paper right now.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect example because that price is not realistic. on what the cost of the good is.
Yeah.
It's realistic on what the emotion is now. So we're going to have the problem as advisors that people are going to be losing their jobs because small business owners shouldn't be forced to carry them. And they're going to be looking at what do they need to do. And that's where we need to talk to them and say, this is the 2008 drill. The bad news is we have muscle memory from 2008, and part of that is what led us to having such big stock market drops so quickly. But also, as individuals, we know what to do. What did you do in 2008? You cut back every place that you could. You have the ability to recognize that you made it through 2008, so hopefully mentally you're taking care of yourself and doing the things that you needed to do. You cut your expenses severely now. That's one of the easiest ones to do. Then you look at where you take inventory of what your incoming bills are, what's left to be unpaid, what's coming in that needs to be paid, what's coming in that can be deferred. And this is a hard one. Lots of things can be deferred. They have a cost to them. And prioritizing what can be deferred and what can't be deferred really factors into this thing that you brought up, Tom, which is how long are we going to be dealing with this? How long am I going to be dealing with no income and expenses coming in? Because if it's a long period of time, well, then you need to make dramatic changes. If it's extended, if you're a gloom and doom person, this is going to last forever, well, then you don't need to do anything because you're not going to have money anyway.
It's going to be over. Yeah. We got to take a break, Mike. And when we come back, I want to ask you and Shane both, what about stock buybacks from these companies? So we'll talk about that when we come back right after this. 21 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Had to look at it. I don't know what's going on, Shane. Mike McCormick, McCormick Financial Advisors, is on the line with us, and we're talking about, the coronavirus and the markets and whatever. And a lot of these companies did buybacks, guys, of their stock rather than just have it out there and paying on it or having it out there. Now, when they need cash, they're kind of screwed because they can't buy back stock and raise it, or they can't sell it, or they can't accumulate cash to pay people. What's going on?
Interesting point, and obviously they're not feeling that clever about that at this point.
I don't think they are.
Huge, the Warren Buffetts that's been sitting on cash comfortably for the past 6 years, basically, are looking like the ones in the catbird seat, and it's a long-term game at this point, Tom. And what we're going through is dramatic. It's real. It's scary, and I think that it's easy to recognize that we all have emotions that come in waves. But when you're looking at how to make sense of it all, there's some comfort in the reality that people did not see this coming. In the 2008 crisis, I still beat myself up a little bit because there was actual data out there that I had access to that had I done my own math, just like the guy in the movie, maybe I could have saved my clients some money.
Yeah.
This one clearly was not on the horizon for anybody as a plan. And as financial advisors, again, I want to bring this back to the individuals. Your financial advisor did come up with a plan for you, and it included Susie Orman money, as I call it, the 3 to 6 months of cash expenses that you have sitting in a savings account for purposes like this. Unfortunately, not enough people have enough money in that, but you have some, and this is what it's for. Now, it's not for buying back stock when things look juicy and easy. That's your opportunistic money. That's a different account. And so for these companies that bought back their own stock, hopefully they still kept their Susie Orman emergency money because they need it right now. And hopefully they only risk their opportunistic speculative money. I know I'm getting into sort of kitschy jargon, but we all think about our finances that way. We have our account here, we have our account there, we have our credit card here, we have our home value here, maybe hopefully a stock and bond portfolio here. There's different ways to use these, and with all these unemployment layoffs we're having, we're going to have people wondering what to do with their stock market investments. And so I need to redirect and just address those people that are saying, okay, how does this work? Step one is that if you are staying employed, you do have the option to not make a contribution to your retirement plan. You can change contributions during the course of the year and reduce or stop your contribution to the stock market.
Yeah. Shane, what's your thoughts, Shane?
Well, I'll make my concern politically. I do find it
Happy that politicians like Biden are talking about shutting down fracking for natural gas. It produces 35% of the electricity in your country now. And coal is only at 27%. So, when politicians get up and make statements that clearly they don't have any understanding for, it's alarmist. Economically, I think, as I said to you yesterday, it's a golden month. We'll know by May 1st where we're at, particularly with studies that are being done. I think that could cause a turn in the market, not a drastic one, but a turn. Mike and I were talking during the commercial. I'm not sure it'll be a V, but it certainly will. I think the market will wind up at some point. If there's some backing to the market left, it would be companies that have buyback plans. I went and reviewed them the last couple of days, and most of them are down to less than 50% of the cash they had before this started. So we'll find out tomorrow a lot of numbers, particularly the unemployment numbers. And third quarter numbers come out at the end of March, so we'll know how bad the first quarter really ended up being.
Yeah. All right. We got a caller on the line. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
This is Clint.
Yeah, what's up?
Well,
Good morning, good sir.
Good morning, and morning there, Mike.
Hey, Clint. Good morning to you.
Well, I want to give you what my estimate is when this is going to recover, and then, Tom, I'd like to tell you a nice story.
All right.
A true story. I'm so damn sick of this here coronavirus and everything else, and people I've talked to in the news. Everybody's buying guns and all this crap and buying bullets and everything. I'm sick of it. So I want to tell a nice story. Yeah, true story. Would you go for that, Tom?
Go for it, man.
Well, first of all, I think it'll take 10 to 12 years for the economy to come back. And the reason I say that is because of how long did it take from 1929 in October. It took till the World War II come on. Mm-hmm. Now, the story is this. When I was a young man, about 14 years old, I used to break horses for a guy. And Lyle Cheney's dad, Harold, lived down there at Central Park, and for every horse I broke, he would give me one. And that was all well and good. But the gist of this story, I would take these horses, my brother and I, he was younger than I, and some other folks, and we'd take them on a ride. We'd ride from the ranch clear to the Madison River, and my grandfather and my family there on Cherry Creek on the Flying D. We would ride there, and I would like to be able to do that again, it seems like. I'm so sick of what's happening to our country, to our president, to our economy and everything else. I'd like to get on that horse again and ride and forget all this stuff that's happening to us and my people here in this country. You and I went to war, Tom, and we know what it's all about. And then you have your news media coming on and telling you that they're buying bullets. That's real smart,
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'd like to be on that horse again. We'd go from the ranch there on the river down at Manhattan, and we'd ride about 25 miles. It'd take us a day. We could ride 25 miles in a day pretty easy. And we'd camp out up there in the Flying D. And we'd camp there on Pole Creek, and we camped on Cherry Creek, and then we'd sometimes go down to my grandfather's place and stay all night there and put our horses up and feed them and stuff.
All right, I'm out of time, Clint.
Well, the thing is,
real quick,
let us start telling nice stories and stuff. This news media is killing. They're the ones.
Yeah.
That are producing all this bad stuff, TV and the news. And I think people are damn sick of it. I know I am.
All right, got to go. Hey, thanks for the call. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. So we will be back right after these important words. Stay tuned. The health department will be here at 8 o'clock. 24 minutes before the top of the hour, Mike McCormick on the line. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia, my co-host. And guys, the market just opened down 466 points so far.
Well, there's a matchup to 2008. And, of course, everybody wants to find a roadmap to this. But I've read reports that have shown, that the way that we're trending down can be analogous to our 2008 trending down. And if you go that way, then we're sort of over 2/3 of the way. We're over the huge move down. But we're in this state where we will just gravity is going to be pulling us down. There'll be a couple of days that might seem flat. There might be some hope. There might be some up days. But we're going to be having smaller by smaller, I mean 3% moves, 4% moves to the downside is what, it's what the pattern, if you want to match it up, says. Now, of course, we got news flow and instantaneous news flow that can be misleading too, that affects things. But for the most part, people are not selling their stocks. It's institutions, it's hedge funds, it's computer programs.
Right.
That's
And
the initial response. Yeah. And so once they cleared out their stuff, there might be some muted activity. There might be social distancing from people selling their retirement accounts out. And I want to be clear, because I need to be, that as a fiduciary, this is our time to do nothing. And it is the hardest thing to do when you're having emotional fears like this going on. Stopping the pain is an instinctive, natural response. Call your advisor, call family members that you trust, call your accountants. They would love to talk to you. And try and get a grip on what you need to do to feel comfortable by not paying attention to these drops on a daily basis, because this is a dislocation evaluation. There's no basis in reality for where we're pricing things right now. The markets will come back. And to my earlier point, and I'm sorry I'm monologuing on this one, but I want to make sure I get to the listeners that now is when you can buy on sale. If you feel confident in your employment, let your retirement contribution go in. Let it go to the same allocation. Don't second guess it, and you will be happy. This is something that we will never forget. But think about, and I said this last week, what do you wish you would have done in 2008?
Yeah.
I wish I would have gone down and gone on vacation with a family in Mexico for 6 months.
Yeah. Not worried
and not
about
paid
it.
attention to a thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Mike McCormick, Shane, and myself. What's up?
Well, I'm trying to give a lighthearted question. I may be a little awkward, but here's the question. Now, all you guys have said that we have the strongest economy in the world. America is strong. Now, a virus weighs 1/1,000,000th of 1/1,000,000,000th of a gram, and conventional wisdom says it's hit the American economy and it's gone down like a ton of bricks. Now, I don't accept that scenario, but if you would have to choose another explanation as to why the economy is in a shambles besides the so-called world plague one, what would it be?
All right. Thanks for the call. Obviously we saw in 2008, we saw a decline there. We saw a market drop in 1987. Every 10 years we've had a recession, and every recession we've come back stronger than the previous where it was previously. Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the question so much as
the question is there another reason for this market to be going down besides the virus?
Well, so yes, because it's really a lack of confidence right now. It's an uncertainty in the ultimate of uncertainties. You can't. There's an invisible zombie walking around, and you can't tell who's got it and who doesn't. There's nothing more Stephen King about this scenario. So it's a confidence thing. And that's where free markets have a problem. When you go to the market, you trust that what you're going to buy and what you're going to trade and all those things, everybody's on the up and up, and that takes a while to build up.
Yeah.
And so it's a two-leveled thing. Yes, they're related now. Once we get a hold on the virus, once we start seeing numbers declining, once we feel confident, the race to the stocks that are going to be winners, I believe, is going to be too fast to time. And that's one of the trickiest things, is that I do have clients that have passed me significant amounts of cash saying, well, there's a sale on, Mike. Give me some good deals.
Right.
You know,
how do you pick and choose those?
I tell them, I say, I'm instinctively conservative. I had a front row seat to 2008. I know how, I'm a human too. And by the time I feel comfortable risking your money, because I'll risk my money long before I'll risk a client's money, it's going to be, we'll already have made some recoveries on it, but we'll probably get some sales.
All right. We come back. We'll get Shane's opinion on that as well, and we'll be right back right after this. 13 minutes before the top of the hour. Shane, what are your thoughts on why would this happen with or without the virus?
Well, I talked one comment
I'd like to make. If the Green New Deal had gone through, this is what you would have seen happen. So, it's an analogy. Number two, of course it's a virus. You've had governments around the world literally shut down their countries, their economies, and two words I've not heard from anyone: martial law. But it's just amazing that it's a political and economic reality that they've been faced with, and I don't know what else they could have done. So no, it's just because of the virus.
I think I'd like to bookend that with.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
This is unprecedented. This is as serious as it gets. We certainly will survive this. You will survive this, but in terms of an economic shock, I think 20% unemployment is a fallacy. I think a town like Bozeman, Montana, will see 50%, but I think it'll only last for a small period of time. And obviously every time frame that we've heard has been extended. But this will be a small period of time in which everybody's got to deal with going to their emergency plan. And then from there, we'll build up. And I think that we all agree that we'll build up and that we'll be in a good position. Things will change considerably, but it's a great time to recognize that your investments will recover, and you need to do what you can to hang on to them. One of the mistakes I made in 2008 was that I liquidated too much because I got too despondent, too concerned with the timing, too focused on sad realities and not enough optimism. So if you need optimism, you know where to find it. Give us a call.
All right. Shane?
I just want to remind everyone that Tom's and my psychology of the market is, in an up market, it's greed and fear. The greed, if I don't buy it today, it'll be higher tomorrow. And in a down market, it's fear and greed. The fear, if I don't sell it today, it'll be lower tomorrow. So in answer to the previous caller's question, combined with the what's going on with the virus, it's a lot of this is fear and greed. And it's a necessity of human emotion to respond to your own fear and greed. This is what happens.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, guys, here's the question from our text line. Why are you guys against a well-conceived fixed income annuity? And Mike, I'm about to retire. Should I sell my stocks in 401k and take the losses? And we'll answer both of those when we come right back right after this. Stay tuned. 7 minutes before the top of the hour, we got the health department coming in next. We got Mike McCormick, McCormick Financial Advisors on the phone. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing. And annuities, guys. Why do we hate fixed rates annuities?
All right. Here's why. I'll jump on this one because I've been the consistent one.
All right.
Over the actual ownership of an annuity, most owners realize at best a 3, maybe 4% rate of return. This is at the time owning it, through the time through distributions, through the time of death. There's not a lot of data out there. This is just one study that I've seen. It's my experience and what I've seen with clients. if you are selling out of your retirement portfolio, this addresses the other one too. If you're selling out of your retirement portfolio right now, you should have owned an annuity because you don't have control of your emotions during downturns. You knew that downturns happen. You signed off on it. Your advisor told you that these things happen, and they told you what we would do if we were in one. We would do nothing. If that's not okay with you, then buying a fixed income, guaranteed return vehicle that only returns 3 to 4% would have been a better choice.
Mike, wouldn't the administrator of the 401k, wouldn't they be looking for safer investments or companies that aren't losing as much as other companies are? And depending on the amount of risk you wanted in your 401k, or if you have that choice, I guess.
Yeah, all 401ks are mandated to have certain options. I include inflation-protected treasuries in mine. Mm-hmm. I only got a couple. It's not really my core business. So, and there's also cash. You can hold cash and not leave your 401k. You can hold cash and not leave your IRA. I don't recommend anybody making changes right now because it's mystery day on what prices are. So again, make sure you really have a good conversation with somebody before you do make any changes. Most well-constructed portfolios, well, I could say this a few days ago, still had gains in them in certain holdings that you could say, okay, well, we made a nickel in this. We can sell it, and I can have some more cash, and that'll make me feel comfortable waiting it out. But the way that I design people's financial lives is that they've got money in the banks to do that, and we don't need to touch the dials of the market. So the 401k has safe options in there. You have huge diversification. You have exposure to everything, and whatever the market does, unfortunately, you'll get that experience. But the key is that it's mystery day on prices right now, and don't play that game.
Yeah. I don't think any of us mentioned 50% unemployment in Bozeman. One of our texters seems to think we said something like that. I know.
No, I did.
Oh, did you?
And that's where I got a bit alarmist. But I don't think it's true unemployment. It's just inactivity in this town. Unless you're a construction worker or a snowplow driver or working for the hospital, there's not a lot of activity happening right now.
Yeah. Okay. One of those.
My only comment on annuities is that it's the premise for these professional sports.
And all these multi-million contracts that you see going out this season, it's going to be interesting to see how big they really are. Because, owners put up a lot of money on a 10 or 20-year contract as an annuity to pay out a player because they can't afford to actually pay out of pocket that money. So this could be a crunch to professional sports because the contracts they get may start swinging the other way because the market doesn't allow owners to provide that kind of money. I'm interested to see what the final contract is for Mr. Brady in Tampa Bay. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they think $30 million per year. So I don't know, but that was the number that I heard on some of the sports channels anyway.
Well, yeah, but the owner of Tampa Bay has to put up $300 million in an annuity to be able to afford to pay him that.
That's right. I understand that. For sure. You're right. You're absolutely correct. And,
now, the annuities that our listeners might be holding are not commingled with such big dollar products. They've got reinsurance. They've got strong insurance carriers. They've got state oversight. I don't want anybody to have lack of confidence in their guarantees right now.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that's the big thing is that right now we're just in limbo. We're treading water, so to speak. I think the market right now is it's only down 326 points, but still, we've lost 10,000 points. So
it's a great time to. I mean, if there's ever a month to throw away your statement and hug your loved one and go out for a walk in beautiful Montana, we're there. We're there.
That's what we're saying.
It's a great time to play tic-tac-toe on one sheet of toilet paper with your kids.
Yeah, right. There you go. Shane,
this is the time that I'm available for questions.
Yeah.
I'm not seeking new clients. I'm impartial. I appreciate everybody that's listening. And these are times that as a community we can really thrive. So I appreciate what you guys do on the radio show, and the listeners are spectacular, and commentators. Thank you, Shane, as well. It's a good social service that's happening.
All right. How they get a hold of you, son?
522-3201. If you find me online, there's a link that you can schedule a call. I've expanded hours. Certainly, if somebody is thinking about cashing out and doesn't have anybody they can talk to, I want to make myself available to them. I might not be able to get right back to you right away. Of course, I've got a job.
You're right. Yeah.
But this is new. This is new, and I think everybody's prepared for it in the back of their mind. But having some guidance is always valuable.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks, Mike, so much. Shane and
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Shane and I will be here. We got the health department coming in next. So we'll be talking
luck,
to
everyone.
them. Thanks, Mike. All right, that'll wrap it up for this segment. As I mentioned, we have the health department waiting in the hall, so we'll be right back with them right after this.